Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Proudfoot podcast. Today, on our 28th episode, we are going to be talking about what you do in your downtime in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. So let's get started. First off, why are we talking about downtime? Isn't Dungeons & Dragons all battle and glory, exploring dungeons, getting quests, finding loot, defeating the monster, that sort of thing? Well, yes, it is. Very much so. All of those things are true about D&D, but you also will have downtime. You will have moments between adventures. You need to have your rest and recuperation. So there are rules in D&D on page 187 on how to spend your downtime. Now, when you're not adventuring, you do need to pay to live. When you're adventuring, you're eating your rations, you're sleeping in tents on bedrolls. You don't have to pay just to live. You're just kind of out there living the life off of the resources you have. But when you're in town or in between adventures, you have to pay to live. There are rules on page 157 in the equipment section on how much it costs to live. There are 7 different lifestyles you can choose from. I won't go over the first 3 just because typically if you're an adventurer, you're probably going to want to live at least a modest lifestyle in order to maintain a certain level of reputation in the environment you find yourselves in. So a modest lifestyle will cost 1 gold, and then it's 2 for a comfortable one and 4 for wealthy. If you want to live the aristocratic lifestyle, this costs you at least 10 gold and can cost more depending on the situation you're in. So depending on what your DM says. Okay, so that is lifestyle expenses. Then there are 5 activities listed in the player's handbook that you can do during your downtime. If you would like to do something else, talk to your DM and maybe you can work something out. The 5 listed here are crafting, practicing a profession, recuperating, researching, and training. So for crafting, you can make items in the PHB that are non-magical, and it costs you half of the value of the item. So if you're trying to make something worth 10 gold, it only costs you 5 gold, and that's to cover the cost of the materials needed to make the item. Not only that, you need to be proficient in whatever tool is required to craft said item. Now, for crafting items that are worth 5 gold, it takes you 1 day. If it's worth less than that, it still takes you 1 day, so it's up to 5 gold 1 day. Now, if you want to make something that's worth more than 5 gold, like 10 gold, it'll take you 2 days. And again, it's up to. So if you're looking at making something that's 8 gold, it'll still take you 2 days, even though it wasn't quite to that full maximum. And then this scales upward. So the example they give you in the player's handbook is if you're making something that's 1,500 gold, it'll take you 300 days. However, if you have a buddy, you can scale this down by the number of people working on the item. So if you're working on a shield, which costs 10 gold, if you're doing it by yourself, it'll take you 2 days. If you have a buddy, it'll take you 1, because every additional person also contributes 5 gold of the item's cost for the work. So basically, the more people you have, the less time it'll take to make. Not only that, when you're crafting, you don't have to pay for a modest lifestyle. It's covered by the act of crafting. So I guess it's assumed you're also making stuff on the side. You're kind of running a little bit of a business or something. There's some way where it's covered. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Speaking of covering your costs, that's what practicing a profession does. If you practice a profession, you can make enough to cover a modest lifestyle as well. So this would be maybe running a shop in town or doing any number of different legitimate working professions. The other thing you can do is performing, which is a type of profession, but it's specifically listed here. If you're proficient with performance, then you can live a wealthy lifestyle by performing in your downtime, so making 4 gold a day. You could pocket 3 gold and still live a modest lifestyle if you would like. That's an option too. Then there's recuperating. So recuperating is an option that people take when they are recovering from an injury, disease, or poison. Sometimes these things can have prolonged effects. So if you are poisoned or diseased, you basically take the recuperating action in your downtime, which takes 3 days of just sitting and resting, after which you make a DC 15 Constitution save. If you succeed, you can do one of 2 things. You can either end an effect that is preventing you from healing, or you can gain advantage on saving throws against diseased and poisoned for the next 24 hours. So that's what recuperating is. Talk to your DM if this is going to be an option that's right for you in your current situation. Now, there's researching. This is the second last option. Researching is a great way to find information for your next quest. You can do it in 2 ways. You can either read a book or you can talk to people. If you choose to read books to find information, you're going to do an intelligence-based investigation roll to see how much you learn. And then if you are talking to people, you're going to do a charisma-based persuasion check to see how much you can get out of people. Depending on where you are and what information you're looking for, the DM may say that you are not able to find out any information on that topic. And that's perfectly valid. It is in the description of researching. Not only that, when you're researching, every day you spend researching, you have to pay 1 gold to research. If you're living a modest lifestyle, you will be paying 2 gold 1 gold for the lifestyle, and 1 gold for researching. Then there is training. Training is learning a new tool proficiency or learning a new language. Now, it's not easy to train. You need to first find someone willing to train you, and then it takes 250 days in order to learn the new tool proficiency or language. In addition, you have to pay this mentor 1 gold a day. So similar to researching, you're going to be paying 1 gold for the act of training and then another gold for the act of living, so your lifestyle expense. Now, 250 days is a long time. You can break this up over multiple downtime activities, so none of these have to be cumulative. So that's the same with crafting. If you would like to craft something over a long period of time, you can pick it up and put it down, go back to adventuring, questing, and then come back and do this again a little bit later. So that's an option as well. Okay, that's everything I wanted to talk about in today's episode. So thank you so much for listening to the Eddie Proudfoot podcast. If you enjoyed it, please follow us on Instagram, Spotify, or Twitter. And as always, may the gods have mercy on your soul.